Hey everybody, hope y'all are having a good week so far. It's Wednesday, so I'm going to do a video a little bit early today. I've got more stuff going on tomorrow than I do today, which is pretty uncommon for me to be able to do one on a Wednesday. But it won't make much difference between today and tomorrow, so we'll go over what I'm looking at. So this box has been drawn in there, I think somewhere since this 28,000 level. I wasn't sure if we were going to come down to this box or we're going to go up into this area over here. But what we really want to see is some sort of consolidation or just a break above, and then the alts should start to rise as well. And the alts are eventually going to catch up and outperform BTC, at least some of them, right? Hopefully the ones that we're in, the low volume pullbacks that we've been talking about, the ones that are showing that should do really well. Some of the other ones will move to hopefully look something like gas, like neo gas. And then this wave here is just kind of a projection of what's possible, right? There's not really a good way to do an Elliott wave count, in my opinion, unless this was literally one, and we're doing two, or we did two, and then we're into three, which is possible that we started three already, and then we top in the beginning of 2025. So we'll see. Just ride it out, and the longer the time frames go, the more we're going to be able to tell when we're kind of going to top within a couple of months, most likely. I would have really liked to see a bigger correction for wave two. However, we don't have to do that, right? It's probably not. It's probably not going to look like this because that was the last cycle. But it can, something can always happen here. So keep that in mind. It's Bitcoin. It doesn't go straight up. You have big rises and then scary falls. Scary falls in the boring times are the best to accumulate altcoins for the most part. Alright, so let's take a look. Got a little bit of daily divergence, which daily is not that big of a deal. And then really no divergence on the 3-day yet. And then 1 week. No divergence on the 1 week. So no very large corrections, at least through divergence. If you saw divergence on like a weekly, it means, like, for example, this is higher than this over here, but the price action is lower here. It's telling you that there's going to be a really big correction pretty soon. Okay. And then right here you have divergence. This price is way up here, and then the RSI is way down here, but price is higher. It means that there's a very, very big correction coming. Okay. So that's what we're kind of waiting for, right? So if we consolidate where we're at now, alts should continue to run. We break up, alts should have a pretty big party. Okay, so let's look at Sol. I had one guy ask about Sol in the group. I think I'm pretty sure I drew this in afterwards, but there was a time whenever we were way up here, or way, I can't remember, somewhere around here after we broke out, I said that the top is most likely in on Sol. The Sol I had was I sold somewhere around here 220 bucks or something like that. And then I said I would take more interest buying it if it reached under $10. Okay, we barely reached under $10 here. You just had a capitulation spike, and I didn't buy any SOL. So some you miss, some you don't. You can always get it on a pullback, right? If it pulls back down to 20 bucks or so, that's something that you could get and grab. SOL is going pretty parabolic right now, so there's a lot of things that can happen with SOL. I think there's a lot of people talking about it as well. I mean, there's just the histograms are just continuing to grow. You do have divergence here on the daily, so minor corrections. Day still has room. I mean, it's still growing on the MACD. You are overbought. Let's take a look at the weekly. So, for example, this is kind of what happens whenever you pass through the zero line on a lot of these things, especially on a weekly. So, like, as soon as you pass through the zero line, you just saw these histograms starting to grow. And, like, if you would have bought right there whenever you passed through the zero line, you would have made whatever percent that is, right? Same kind of goes for whenever you pass through the zero line to the downside. You had a little bit of a bounce here, but then you had a monster decline. And then you had a consolidation and then another decline. So now we're passing through the zero line. You're going to have a large increase and then a retracement, depending on where this ends up going, a retracement and then the next wave. So what you could be seeing here, there's a couple ways that this can play out, okay? I don't like how FTX failed. Makes it a little bit more difficult to like count the waves here, because it just literally, you just have this huge red candle. But anyway, the first wave starts at the very bottom. Okay, so you'd have probably 1, 2, maybe 3 stops right here. You have a little bit of a pullback, and then you have your fifth wave for wave 1. Okay, then you should see some sort of correction. Can go sideways, can be really small, can be really big. A lot of different ways that can play out. Comes down to some kind of support. So if it goes past this level, an entry would be, pull back on some sort of support, $40, maybe as low as $24. Maybe it blows way past here and then just comes back down and tests this little area. And then you would have your next wave. Okay, wherever this stops, you'd have the bigger wave, wave 3. Okay, and then you'd have wave 5. Which, some of these coins, and this might be one, that just has this really big A, B, C. Okay, so it stops at the third wave and then starts to come back down. Now, if that doesn't happen, the next one here after an ABC correction, A, B, C, is the fifth wave. Now, where could that go? This would break it to a new high, most likely. And that price is not accurate, but You know, you could see $500 on Sol, something like that. I mean, that's pretty round, even number. We can pull up the grand fib here. I just know there's a whole bunch of money in Sol. That kind of makes me worry a little bit on price. It would actually probably hit 773 if it breaks to a new high. $700. But when I'm looking at BTC I think is only going to end up going to like 75K. So a lot of these alts just might retouch their old high or just barely pass their old high. Okay, we're just going to have to look at where are the alts at whenever BTC hits $75,000. Like if BTC isn't close to $75,000 and Sol is at $355, then it's probably going to this level. Okay. And that's the only, BTC controls the market. So whatever it does, if it pulls back, everything is going to pull back. And the time that this would happen, most likely in 2025. So not the best drawing, but that gives you an explanation. Would I buy Sol here? No, I would have rather bought this somewhere around $20. I think there's other things to buy like THETA. For example, holding a little bit of Sol is probably not a bad idea though. Sol could be a huge coin like Ethereum was. Ethereum went to $100 or $80 and it went up to like $4,000. So Sol could actually do something like that. Could go higher than this as well. If we get a strong pullback, I would probably buy this. But right here, I don't like chasing after something. I've done that in the past, and it sometimes works, but not too often. All right, so that covers Sol. And then, so look, for example, if for some reason you're doubting Elliott Wave or whatever, just look at this chart. The Sol chart was the easiest Elliott Wave count to chart here. Okay, this is all you had. Then I drew this out for you. Once we broke this level right here, and this same thing happened with Luna also. So once we broke that level, it was down. So that's a perfect example of why Elliott Wave works. And other chartists are looking at it, they're trying to guess the top, right, or get out close to the top. And that's where the big money is. People invest in people that know what they're doing, right? All right, so TFUEL, I bought some of that today. I kind of want to buy THETA, but it's kind of a pain to buy THETA. So I just bought TFUEL, which TFUEL's pretty low here. Let's take a look at the chart. So, I mean, yeah, this should pop out here just like THETA and then have a pretty good sized run. So you've got this long downward trend line, and this should pop out kind of like Sol and a lot of the other ones. We'll compare that to THETA real quick. So here, THETA popped out about 60%, well, almost 100%. This might pop out 50% or so, since it's already up 50% from its low. But you never know. I mean, there's not much money in TFUEL. I don't think the market cap's very big. Compare to a lot of other things. And I forgot about T-Drop. I forgot to buy T-Drop. So here, give me a second. All right, so here's T-Drop. You can swap it on THETA Swap, or you can get it on, I think that's the only one you can really get, unless you used a VPN for like Gate.io. But THETA Swap is probably the best way to get it. It's up 13% this month, which is not that much. The market cap's only at 15 million, which is nothing. So that could be a super easy 10 to 100x if THETA ends up moving to the upside. But TFUEL, for example, its market cap is only like 300 million, so that's not a whole lot right now. Could 10x to 20x from here, maybe higher. Volume's a little bit low. It's quite a bit low, actually. So let's look at THETA. THETA's right under $1 billion. So that could, go up quite a bit too. A lot of these coins, the volume will start coming in whenever the alts start to run. So we can look at like gas. Let's see what the volume looks like there. So it started to run, and then you've got 400 million. So it's 600 million right now, market cap. Let's take a look at the volume. So you started seeing no volume back here, and then you had this spike in volume, and then a bigger spike in volume, bigger spike in volume, and then a huge monstrous spike in volume. So let's see if we can see that on something else. Volume's not quite the same, but you did have a big volume spike here, and then still good volume coming in. It's just smaller than over here. This needs to actually be bigger. So let's see, it might take a little bit more time for theta. But anyway, that's why I bought TFUEL. And you do have a low volume pullback on theta, which is good. No sellers, and then there's some buyers coming in, not a whole bunch. Nevertheless, I think it's still going to do pretty well. I don't think I looked at ADA the other day. Same thing here. You've got that low volume pullback, and then we've left our accumulation box here. So pretty much anytime you break a trend line, also it's a pretty good opportunity to buy. This you would have bought a little bit higher, but a back test would have been a great buy. And then breaking out of the secondary trend line would have been good as well. After that, there's no more trend lines. So that's just a way to kind of tell when to purchase. Like you could have drawn a trend line from here down to here, and then you just had a breakout. That would have been a good buy area, and then this second one would have been a good buy area too. However, you had a back test. I'll probably clean that up a little bit, maybe even putting it up here. Yeah, so there's more touches here. You had a breakout and then a back test, held that line, and then boom, it went off to the races. And you can pretty much do that with any coin. Sometimes you can even do it from top to top. But in this case, I don't think it's going to work. And then you can line it up with one of these targets. But that doesn't look like it's going to work. I think Sol was a good way to do that. But for ADA, it's not going to work. So you try different things, see if there's some congruency, and then you make a decision. You look at the RSI, the stochastic RSI, the MACD, see if there's divergence, is hitting a trend line. There's just a lot to it. But you can make pretty good educated guesses. That's how we got out of some of the coins like CRO at the top or whatever, and some of the other ones. So XLM did move quite a lot, and then it sold off. Had like or I guess it was XRP. XRP had a pretty big move, and then it sold off. Let's see if it actually starts to pick up here. It's passed through the 0 line on the 3 day, so that's a good sign. This closes in 2 days. Last time that happened was over here, right? So we went up quite a bit, so this could just kind of be pulling back a little bit, waiting for that to pass through, and then have a good sized move up. And this is oops. And again, 3 could just come up to somewhere around here too. I don't remember what I was talking about here, but something like that is possible. That's what gas did. It just went a little bit higher than its old high after the ABC correction, and then it came all the way back down like 50%. So that could happen. Big move up and then big move down, just like this right here. Huge move up, 80% correction down before another leg to the upside. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much covers everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm looking at some alts right now. Yeah, that covers everything, guys. All right, I'll talk to you all on Sunday. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to text me or send a message on the Telegram. Sorry, I completely forgot about Sol, and then I saw that message, and I just wanted to get that over with. So, all right, I'll talk to you all on Sunday.